prepping.
Tabby, will you?
Thank you.
Okay, we're live. All right, we're going to open our meeting. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I never get tired of that part of our meeting. Welcome everybody to our Wednesday, October 9th regular commission meeting. I will open our meeting with public comment on any subject that's not on the agenda that is within the commissioner's jurisdiction. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, Angie? Oh, Angie's going to go first, Steve.
You want to go?
You go.
I wasn't sure if he was going to. Good morning, Mr. Chairman Folkford and Commissioners. My name is Angie Paulson, Browwater County Clerk and Recorder. I just wanted to give a quick election update. As you know, our presidential election will be held November 5th. The county offices will be closed that day, other than the election office. Just wanted to let you know that we did enter into what's called the late voter registration period. That means that if anybody needs to update their voter registration in any way or are new registrants, they need to come to the office in person. We cannot update a voter registration via mail or motor vehicle division unless it's in person. So if we receive those in the mail, we will be calling you to let you know that we need you to come in to do that in person, all right? Also, a reminder that election ballots will not be forwarded. They cannot be forwarded. So you need to make sure that those address changes are updated, like I said, in person in our office. Our absentee ballots are prepped and ready to be mailed out on October 11th. That is this Friday. Yes, it is already here. So if you are wanting to sign up as an absentee voter, please come in like today or tomorrow as soon as possible. The other thing I wanted to say was, we're just very busy right now. We had a line out the door this morning. People are able to pick up and vote their ballot as of Monday. We do not encourage that. However, if you know you're going to be gone on election day and you're a polling place voter, we can issue you a one-time absentee ballot. We want to make sure that you vote, obviously. If you are registered as an absentee voter and you know that you're going to be away during the time frame that we mail out your ballot on October 11th until election day, come see us and we will let you know your options. So that is one thing. Another thing going on, tomorrow I will be heading to the Capitol. We have a Senate Select Committee on Elections. There is obviously a lot of discussion surrounding elections right now, and that will be talking, like I said, with the Senate Select Committee regarding post-election audits, of which all of you know the importance of the post-election audit as you are the board for that. We also will be discussing the Montana Election Observation Initiative, which is a board that is a nonpartisan board across the state. 15 counties were selected to be observed on election night and during the post-election audit and canvass, and Browwater County is one of those 15. So I will have a nonpartisan group observing every step of the election, this presidential election. So I'm happy to be transparent and have somebody come watch every step. So
Okay.
that's all I have for you. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks.
Okay. Steve.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Steve Reed. I live in St. Regis, Montana right now. I'm originally from Bozeman, Montana. I've been a contractor and a project manager for 45 years, and I'm working with M-Phase, as most of you know now, which is the modular house, affordable, equitable, livable house builder that's going to wants to build a factory in this county, as they do in our county, Mineral County too. Now, we have some similarities between our counties. We are about 90% owned or controlled by the federal or state government properties there. So we have limited property that we can utilize. However, we're getting help from the state through the governor's offices to get some things moved ahead. We're planning on building a solar hydrogen plant there, workforce housing. We've got issues like you do here with schools, places for teachers to live, places for the people that work at the hospital to live, to attract good people, county workers, of course, policemen, firemen, etc. We have the same situation there. So we're pursuing this as best and as quickly as we can, with the best pathway, with the help from the local municipalities and stakeholders and investors, etc. Some of these quasi partnerships between private and public entities. And so I'm here today. We're looking for a location for a model home, as some of you know. We've looked at some spots. The factory is looking at your TED development down the street at Three Forks to put their factory in there. It's a huge factory, 120, 130,000 square foot building, employing numerous people. However, like everybody in the state of Montana, there is workforce housing problems, not only for building the factory, but after the fact for people that work there. So that's my push, is initially finding developers, contractors, places to set up this model home in several places in the state. It's extremely efficient product, very modular and able to manipulate the design any way you can. Extremely efficient. I've been in the business in several different trades: ICF, concrete formed houses, other panel type houses, manufactured homes, and this seems to be one of those things that just hits the price point and hits the livability issues too. So that's why I'm here today, and I look forward to working with you. I've talked with David Sigler, who's doing a lot of stuff down there, championing that area down there, and we've talked a lot about the issues that everybody in the state deals with, including water issues, which we know are never going to go away. And so there's some new stuff coming down the pipeline. We're really excited ourselves about it. We'd like to get this open, but we'd like to get people into some housing. I'll have a meeting here later today and tomorrow with some people at the state level to see if we can grease the skids a little bit. The governor has signed a letter of intent that he wants to back this type of project, not only the manufacturing but also the construction and the placement of homes throughout Montana. 60,000 units, they say, at least. They're shy in the state for people. As you know, I'm originally from Bozeman. We know what's going on there. It's happening in Helen, it's happening in Missoula, and people are coming out to these areas to be able to commute to work, where it's more affordable and frankly more livable as far as I'm concerned. But I want to thank you for letting me speak here today. I'll keep you updated as I go along here. I'm thanks to Bill and to Lindsay, who I've already talked to, and others that will keep in touch. The owners of the company are planning on being here towards the end of the month. I'm not sure if that's going to happen because there's some design things they're doing to adapt to the Montana lifestyle type thing, because their homes are very, very modern and very, very efficient, and we just want to make them even a little more appealing than they already are. So I want to thank you for the time you've given me here, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment?
Mr. Chairman, I've got a couple
Okay.
items very quickly. Questions about the fires and the smoke. I met yesterday with Brittany Willis, our DES coordinator. Most of the smoke that we're getting right now, all this information is as of yesterday about noon we met. The two fires in Jefferson County are creating most of the smoke that we're dealing with. In the state, there's 41 active fires today, 3 in the last 48 hours. Total fires this year, 2,162 in Montana. So far, and again, this is from yesterday, 388,000 acres have burned. So just some information. So it is, fire season isn't really a season anymore, as I think we've learned in the last couple of years. One other thing I've been involved in, Canyon Ferry Reservoir Study. This is not any cost to the county at all. It's the Institute for Tourism and Recreation Research out of Missoula. They've had some meetings, some brainstorming meetings. They will be studying Canyon Ferry, everything about the lake, camping, boating, all of that. You will see some people out there, strategic dates in January, then in the spring, then in the summer, and in the fall, doing surveys. If you are asked questions, please take just a couple minutes. So I just want people to know, if you're asked to do a survey, please do it. The information will be very good for all of us, for businesses, recreation, and everything. They're going to be out there on weekends that are not like the big perch derbies. People are too busy with the derbies or tournaments, so they just want to get the local people that are using it. And this will go on for a year. But I want to let y'all know this is no cost to the county.
Debbie, do they record their meetings
No.
at all? They don't.
You know, I don't know the last one. And I don't know if they're having any more. There was some listening sessions that I've attended, and then they came down a month or so ago in person. So they've done a lot of research to see what we need, what statistics we need. So please, if you are asked questions, just take a couple minutes and answer them. And then just a reminder, the building's closed, as Angie said, on Monday for Columbus Day.
All right.
That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is the public comment? No. For those that may have come in late, we do have a sign-in sheet in the back corner. Please sign in. Okay. Let's see. Going forward for the rest of our meeting, if you do come forward to speak, please say and spell your name for the record, for our clerk and recorder. And with that, we'll move on to our first agenda item. County Parks and Recreation Board requests matching funds for Trust Board grant for county recreation property master plan, $13,500.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lacey Forey, LACEYFORREY, with Parks and Rec, Vice Chair. As you are aware, we were approved for the Trust Board for part of our master plan with the remaining balance of $13,500. As you're also aware, the Parks and Rec is not a funded board, so we have a limited amount of money in that fund. So we are requesting that $13,500 to come from PILT money as our first option. Second option would be half PILT, half out of our budget, and then obviously the third would be out of our budget. If the third option is really not ideal for us because we've only got about $22,000 in there, I believe, and we are also still potentially on, I don't want to say on the hook, that's not the right word, but we have a vault toilet that we are hoping that Missoula Concrete will be able to resell, but if they don't, that money will have to come out of our budgets, which would essentially deplete us. So I'm just here today to ask for one of those three options to be approved. And sorry, for those that aren't aware, the master plan is for our Centennial property as well as the Karen and Delger property.
Okay. So in reading this, it's actually a total of 93 acres between the two different locations, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And maybe real quickly, just tell us where those areas are at for folks that might not know where that's at.
So the smaller parcel is on Centennial. Is that correct? Yes. Centerville. Sorry, that's what that doesn't sound. Centerville and Mill Road, and then the larger parcel is Canton and Delger, over by the golf course and the Rod and Gun Club.
And Mr. Chair.
Yes.
May I address?
You may.
Highlight to what the master plan is going to look at, because we had obviously the trust board said okay to the grant. The commission is in the know, but just for anybody else listening.
So the master plan will be a county-wide process of what is the best use of this property. So that we're working with Great West Engineering. They will do surveys of county residents and what they want to see, and so that if someone has a project, we've gone through all of the proper steps for all of the residents, and that we can move forward with grants for those individual projects.
Okay. One of the questions that we always ask in projects like this, and I see it's mentioned in the grant application, is who will operate and maintain the project when completed. The question was Broadwater County, or the answer was, who will provide future maintenance and management plan, and the answer was Broadwater County. So I don't think that we've ever have agreed to that.
Okay.
So that's something that we would have to discuss, and maybe that could be a separate discussion from your grant request, but I just want to say on the record that we are not agreeing to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think that was something that was going to be addressed in the master plan process. They were going to help us look at the ongoing.
Sure. I just don't want anybody to get the
Yeah.
wrong impression that we're agreeing to that at this point.
Yeah.
Because currently, right now, we are maintaining some of them, and we never did agree to that. And so those are things that will have to be discussed during this process.
Understood.
That was going, Mr. Chairman, that was going to be my comment as well, because it is stated in here, so I just want to clear. And that needs to be a highlight, in my opinion, of the master plan. Who is going to provide the maintenance? Maybe part of it could be the county. But that was, I just want, as this process goes on, and it will take 6 or 8 months for the master plan to be completed. I've gone through a couple of them. They will have meetings, public meetings throughout the county. Great West will do a great job. But for the record, maybe somehow the county can participate in some of the maintenance.
Let's see, something that needs to be talked about. I thought it was in here, what the cost of the master plan was. Total cost was $45,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct.
And who would be doing that?
Great West Engineering.
Great West
is
Engineering?
Correct.
Anything else from the commission?
I thought there was more than 22. And I mean, it's an easy, we can find that out easily. I thought there was more than 22 in the account.
That was the last number I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Yes.
Either way, it's not funded. So you
Yes.
have that finite amount at this time, yeah.
Okay. So we were given 3 options, I guess. What option would you guys like to pursue?
Can I make a motion at this time?
You may.
I would move to support the ask with half of that coming from the county and half of that coming from Parks and Recreation for a total of $13,500.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded that the matching fund of $13,500 will be split between the county and the Parks and Rec Board. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Mr. Schritz, come forward, state your name and spell it, please.
Name's Jeff Schritz, S-C-H-R-I-T-Z. One of the properties mentioned is on what do we call that, Centerville Road now?
Centerville and
Oh, yeah, the one from the
Centerville.
from the bridge over to the trailer park. That road, that loop, all of that coming around to Canton Lane is used for jogging, walking, all kinds of recreation. One issue that I've noticed on that over the years, it's kind of been neglected, is the actual right-of-way of the road and the encroachment of vegetation onto that road, especially one notable cottonwood tree that's had plenty of bark skinned off of it. So I would like to encourage the commission to prioritize that road visibility and safety is in respect to all the recreational use that it gets, and try to prioritize that above any other monies that are going to be spent to develop any more properties. I know that different money goes to different things, but Just want to make note of that if we're looking at putting a park on this road, it's going to bring that much more traffic, it's going to get that much more attention, and there's already a pretty obvious issue as far as road maintenance goes on that section of road. That's all I have.
I think those issues probably can be addressed during the master plan. So, any other public comment? Any other public comment?
And Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure that my motion did not specify PILT. We may decide to take it out of PILT, but I specifically did not say
Okay.
PILT.
Okay.
Just to be clear, to
Very
give
good.
us options about where we find that funding.
Okay.
Okay. So
Thank you for
have
that
to carry it, yeah.
clarification.
My motion purposely left it open.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any other comments? Any other public comment? None, Aileen? No. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda, Nicole Brown, Community Development Planning. Ely boundary location exemption request.
Good, excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director, here to present the Ely family boundary relocation. You should have in front of you a copy of the staff report, which I will be reading into the record, a copy of the certificate of survey, and a copy of the affidavit completed by Mr. and Mrs. Ely. At the conclusion of the reading of my staff report, I would also like to read into the record some comments from our Broadwater County Sanitarian, which I believe each of you have also received. But these comments have not been made available to the public, so I would like to read them into the record once I complete my staff report. So, with that, this is the staff report for the boundary relocation for Thomas Ely. This is to the Broadwater County Commissioners from myself, Nicole Brown. The date of this staff report is October 2nd, 2024. The deadline for this governing body to take action is October 17th, 2024. The applicant is Thomas Ely of Townsend, Montana. Executive summary. The exemption request, as presented to the Broadwater County Commissioners, is a proposal to amend 2 lots utilizing a boundary relocation exemption. Mr. Ely is proposing a boundary relocation between 2 properties, both under the ownership of Thomas Ely. With the submittal of this boundary relocation exemption request, Mr. Ely is proposing to relocate the boundaries of the established parcels to allow the existing buildings to be included on the adjacent lot of his primary residence. It would also allow for some landscaping expansion on the lot his residence resides on. Boundary relocation statutes. Montana Code Annotated MCA 7632071D provides for 5 or fewer lots, divisions made within a platted subdivision for the purpose of relocating common boundary lines between adjoining properties. Since both parcels are and will continue to be less than 20 acres in size, they will both be subject to Department of Environmental Quality DEQ review. An approval from DEQ for the existing configuration of the lots is on file in the Clerk and Recorder's office, but a rewrite from DEQ will be required for the amendment to the parcels. The request. The owner of the parcels is requesting approval of the use of the boundary relocation exemption for 2 of his owned parcels. Location. The second amended Lot 9 is located off of Skyview Lane, a subdivision road. The third amended Tract 1A is located off of Lower Deep Creek Road, a county road. Both parcels are located in Section 2, Township 6 North, Range 2 East. These properties are approximately 3 miles southeast of the city of Townsend. Existing development and uses. Both parcels are residential subdivision lots with a residence only on the second amended Lot 9. Adjacent land use to the north is residential subdivision and agricultural. To the east is residential and agricultural. To the south is agricultural. And to the west is residential subdivision and agricultural. Project uses concerning wastewater. Both parcels are and will continue to be subject to review and approval from DEQ and subject to 1736-9 of the Administrative Rules of Montana, mitigating impacts to adjacent properties. An approved septic system is installed on the second amended Lot 9.
Additional review by DEQ and the Environmental Health Officer for the amendment to the parcels will be required. Access. The properties both have direct access to public roads. When an approach is to be constructed for the third amended Tract 1A, they will be required to apply for a county road approach permit from the Broadwater County Public Works Department for the access onto Lower Deep Creek Road. Water. One residential well is installed on the second amended Lot 9. Public health and safety. No public health and safety concerns are identified at this time. In conclusion, pursuant to 76.3.2071 of MCA, which states, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter, the following divisions or aggregations of tracts of record of any size, regardless of the resulting size of any lot created by the division or aggregation, are not subdivisions under this chapter, but are subject to the surveying requirements of 76.3.401 for divisions or aggregations of land other than subdivision, and are subject to applicable zoning regulations adopted under Title 76, Chapter 2D, for 5 or fewer lots within a platted subdivision, the relocation of common boundaries. 2 structures are being transferred through this proposed boundary relocation, a shop and a storage shed. There is an existing 60-foot wide county road easement along the southern boundary of the third amended Tract 1A, with 30 feet being on this property. A 60-foot wide road easement is depicted along the western boundary of the second amended Lot 9, with all 60 feet being on this property. Lastly, there is a drain-filled easement just outside of the third amended Tract 1A for the currently approved uninstalled drain field. And that concludes my report. Mr. Chairman, I would like to read into the record our Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer, Megan Bullock's comments, if that is acceptable to you.
Please do.
So this is an email from Megan Bullock, the Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer. Nicole, number 1, second amended Lot 9 has a DEQ approval, EQ number 97-1241. Therefore, the exemption cited, ARM 17-36-6052B, is appropriate. Number 2, I'm not finding any documentation that third amended Tract 1A has DEQ approval. In fact, when second amended Tract 1A was created in 2019 through the Elio family transfer, it was exempted from DEQ review 17-36-6052A as a parcel with sanitary restrictions. If they don't intend to lift the sanitary restrictions at this time, we'll need them to cite ARM 17-36-6052A for this parcel. Number 3. I'm puzzled as to why a drain-filled easement is being shown for third amended Tract 1A unless they intend to now go through DEQ review. I've not received an application to date. Of concern is the proximity of the drain-filled easement to the approved well location on the adjacent Lot 10A of Deep Creek Estates. Based on measurements given, it's within the 100-foot radius well isolation zone.
Okay. I think we all have the map depicting that concern.
Indeed, Chairman Folkford, yes, part of the email from Megan Bullock was the map showing the drain-filled easement and the well isolation zone, as well as EQ number 19-1595 that was created for the Elio family transfer, stating that that lot was exempt from review.
Okay. Well, I guess with that, Tom, do you want to come forward and speak to that? And also our process is to put folks under oath. So if you would raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony that you're about to give regarding the Elio boundary location exemption is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Tom Eliel, last name E-L-I-E-L. Good morning, Commissioners. There was a lot Nicole said that I didn't understand.
Okay. All right.
So if you have any specific questions, I'd be glad to try to really our purpose is to include the existing, as she said, the existing buildings that are already there and the existing landscape that's now just finished that just extends our current landscaping all into one lot. That's really the entire purpose of what we're trying to include here. Just to simplify the lot that we live on for future estate planning purposes, we're trying to just get things cleaned up as far as our border boundary lines are concerned and the existing buildings that are built.
True. And that all makes perfect sense. Looking at the maps and how your current property lays out, I mean, I think we totally understand that.
Sure. Yeah.
I think the question is on the drain field and its proximity to the well up there on Third Amendment Tract 1A. And maybe you're not aware of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's over my pay grade to understand that. I know I'm working with J.J. Connor to work through these issues as he sees them. Yeah, we're not intending on the lot that is not in the subdivision to necessarily build it. It's just it's essentially a buffer for us just to keep other people from building near us or putting junk cars on that piece that's not in the subdivision. We aren't necessarily intending to develop that. It's just we're just moving that boundary into that area to try to just clean up our existing lot that we live on. So.
All right, very good. Would it be okay with you if we table this until we get J.J. Connor to give us some clarification on that?
Absolutely,
You guys
yeah.
got
He can explain it much better than I can.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Thank you, Tom.
You bet.
Thank you.
And just so everybody knows, Tom and Joan are fantastic musicians. We appreciate their music.
I did too. Right when you said that, I was like, I know.
Chairman Fulkford, may I ask a clarifying question?
Yes, you may.
So I do know the commissioners will not be meeting next Wednesday, the 16th. As you're tabling this item, the deadline for the governing body to take action is October 17th. However, you are not meeting on October 16th. Do you have a date in mind? And I guess this is probably more of a legal question. Are we stopping the clock on this
That's
review
my
process?
question. I think that we do stop the clock because we need more clarification.
Okay.
We don't have enough information to make our decision.
Follow-up clarifying question, sir, if I may. So we will not set a date for this to be on the commission agenda. I will reach out to J.J. Connor and ask these questions that you presented here today. Once I receive that information from him, then we'll start back at day one on the 20 working day clock.
Correct.
Is that an appropriate statement?
That correct, right?
Perfect. Thank you. Just want to make sure that you're all clear on how to move forward.
Okay. Next on our agenda, Nicole Brown, Community Development Planning Director. Schwitz, court-ordered petition exemption request. Thanks, Tom and Joan, for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner. Presenting the Schritz Family Court Ordered Division. I will be reading into the record the staff report, which you should have in front of you. You should also have a copy of the certificate of survey. I believe you also should have the judge's order and the affidavit from the Schritz family. And at the conclusion of the reading of my staff report, I would also like to read into the record comments from our Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer, Megan Bullock. I have forwarded these comments on to Mr. Schritz, but that was only just this morning, so there's a possibility he may not have seen these comments. So with that, Chairman Fulford, I would like to read the staff report into the record.
Thank you. Please.
This is the staff report for the Court Order Division for the Schritz family to the Broadwater County Commissioners from myself, Nicole Brown. The date of the staff report was October 1, 2024. The deadline for the governing body to take action is October 10th, 2024. The applicants are Jeffrey Schritz, Keith Schritz, and Athena Schritz. Executive summary. The exemption request as presented to the Broadwater County Commissioners is a proposal to create 3 lots from an existing lot utilizing the court-ordered division exemption. The Schritz family owns an existing 23.62 acre parcel with a home and requesting to amend the parent parcel to become a 13.12 acre vacant parcel to be known as Tract 1, an 8 acre vacant parcel to be known as Tract 3, and a 2.5 acre parcel with the existing dwelling to be known as Tract 2. On June 14, 2024, the District Court Judge in Broadwater County issued an order of partition and judicial deed for Tract 1 to Jeffrey Schritz, Tract 2 to Keith Schritz, and Tract 3 to Athena Schritz. Court-ordered division statutes. Montana Code Annotated 763201-1A provides for parcels created by order of any court of record in the state of Montana. Since the proposed parcels are being created by court-ordered division, they are exempt from sanitary review. Therefore, no DEQ nor Environmental Health Office review and approval is required. Request. The owners of the parcels are requesting approval of the use of the court-ordered division exemption to allow each family member individual ownership of the family property. Location. The properties are located off Canton Lane in Section 29, Township 7 North, Range 2 East. These properties are approximately 1/2 mile northeast of the city of Townsend, Montana. Existing development and uses. The existing parcel has 1 residence on it, and the remaining acreage is open vacant land. Adjacent land uses to the north, east, and south are agricultural. To the west is residential. Project uses concerning wastewater. Since the court-ordered division exemption is being utilized, none of the properties will be subject to DEQ review and approval, even though all 3 parcels will become less than 20 acres in size. The 1 existing residence is utilizing an approved septic system. Access. The properties all have direct access to Canton Lane, a county road. If any additional approaches are to be constructed, they will be required to apply for a county road approach permit from the Broadwater County Public Works Department. Water. There is 1 residential well on the property at this time. Public health and safety. Because the individual properties are not being reviewed nor approved for on-site wastewater treatment systems, the owners of the lots will be responsible for ensuring the well influent zone is adhered to. This will help to ensure the potable water source is not contaminated by neighboring septage. Conclusion. Pursuant to 763207-1 MCA, which states, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter, the requirements of this chapter may not apply to any division of land that A, is created by order of any court of record in this state or by operation of law, or that in the absence of agreement between the parties to the sale, could be created by an order of any court in this state pursuant to the law of eminent domain. According to the survey, the easement for Canton Lane does not encumber this property. Rather, the entire Canton Lane easement is outside of the boundary lines of the Schritz property. There is a 60-foot wide easement from Canton Lane along the north boundary of the proposed Tract 3. This is identified as Easement 1. There is another easement leaving Tract 2 onto Tract 1, seemingly for a water line access from the existing well on Tract 2 to spigots located on Tract 1. This is identified as Easement 2. And that concludes my staff report. Mr. Chairman, I would like to read into the record an email from our Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer, Megan Bullock, if that is acceptable to you.
Yes, please.
This email is from Megan Bullock. dated Friday, October 4th. Nicole, please have the surveyor cite the sanitation exemption in its entirety, MCA 764125-1A. Under MCA 7632-013, before a court of record orders a division of land under MCA 7632-011A, the court shall notify the governing body of the pending division and allow the governing body to present written comment on the division. It would be nice on these court-ordered divisions if we could request the judge require the newly created parcels to at least go through DEQ review. It doesn't necessarily guarantee the judge would honor our request, but we should ask, especially because I'm hearing of more and more of these court-ordered divisions from this particular survey. From Megan.
Okay.
Chairman Fulkford, I have just a bit of clarifying information to add to this discussion, if I may.
Please.
There was a request from from the Schritz family, I should say, from their attorney, to Broadwater County prior to the judge's decision for the county's comments on this, and this was sent to the commissioners. I cannot state with full assurance that it was sent to our Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer for her comments. It was sent to the governing body. So comments were sent to the Schritz family's attorney from the county prior to the judge's decision, but I can tell you that the DEQ approval was not part of the county's comments sent to the judge. So I appreciate Megan making that ask, because previously that had not been done by the county. So I just want to clarify that the court did request comments from the county did provide comments, but the county did not request that DEQ approval be done on these properties.
Right. And I remember us making the comments that were passed on to the court. How about the first request from Megan that the exemption be cited in its entirety?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that absolutely can be added to the survey, and I have forwarded this email on to the surveyor so he knows exactly where that request is coming from, and to add it to the survey prior to it being recorded. Now, I do have Mylars and paper copies in my office. However, those I can give back to Mr. Schritz, and he can provide the adjusted Mylar and paper copies is what we refer to, because those are the recording documents that will be sent on. So that absolutely can be and should be added to the survey based on Megan's request.
Okay. All right, good. So I mean, I think we probably realize that we have these requests in the past. We'll have to make sure that Megan's looped in on to be able to make her comments. I guess one question I have is looking into the future. I mean, I know there's no DEQ approval required at this point, but if there were residences to be built on these tracks, they would then have to go through DEQ, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, no.
I don't know.
No, they would not.
Okay.
No, that is one of the caveats with the court-ordered division, that if a home were to be constructed or any structure requiring sanitary facilities, right, water in, water out, the individual owning that parcel would go to our environmental health office and apply for a septic permit,
Right.
but no DEQ approval.
And maybe I maybe misstated. That's what I meant. They would still have to go through to get a septic permit.
That is correct, Mr.
Okay.
Chair. Yes.
That's really where I was going. Sorry about that. Okay. Any other questions or comments for Nicole? I don't have any other. Is there a motion? And if there is, the motion to include the addition of the sanitary exemption in its entirety.
Do we want to cite that full exemption, or do we want to just say
Sure.
sanitation
Yes,
exemption?
please.
Let me find my.
Do you want my email?
I think I have the right one here. The MCA 76-4-125, there's 76-3-201. Is that the correct one?
Mr. Chair, may I respond?
Yes.
So the MCA that will be cited on the plat is MCA 76-4-125-1A.
Correct.
501A. Okay. Right. I move to approve the Schwitz court-ordered partition exemption request with the included sanitation exemption of 76-4-125-1A.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to the Schwitz court-ordered exemption with the sanitation exemption MCA 76-4-125, 1 sub A in its entirety. Is there any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next on our agenda, Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director, Kimberly Cookson Family Transfer.
All right, Commissioners, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner, presenting the Kimberly Cookson Family Transfer Request. You should have in front of you the staff report, the affidavit, and the certificate of survey. With that, Mr. Chairman, I would like to read the staff report into the record, if I may.
Okay.
So this is the staff report for the Kimberly Cookson family transfer to the Broadwater County Commissioners from myself, Nicole Brown. The date of the staff report is September 24th, 2024. The deadline for the governing body to take action is October 10th, 2024. The applicant is Kimberly Cookson of East Helena, Montana. Executive summary. The subject property is 42.81 acres in size with access from Moss Rock Road, which is not a county road. The parcel is currently owned by Kimberly Cookson, whom is requesting to utilize the family transfer exemption to gift a 32.81 acre parcel identified as Tract 5A to her son, Jeffrey Cookson. Family transfer statutes. Montana Code Annotated 763207-2B provides that a division within a platted subdivision is exempt from additional subdivision reviews and is subject to applicable zoning regulations adopted under Title 76, Chapter 2, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter, if the division, that needs to go, of evading this chapter, period. Since the proposed Tract 5B will become less than 20 acres in size, it will be subject to DEQ review and approval. The proposed Tract 5A will be greater than 20 acres in size, so it will be subject to Broadwater County Environmental Health Office review and approval. Request. The owner of the parcel is requesting approval of the use of the family transfer exemption. Location. The property is located off of Moss Rock Road in portions of Section 9 and Section 10, Township 9 North, Range 1 West, Broadwater County, Montana. Existing development and uses. There is currently an existing home site on proposed Tract 5A, the parcel that is intended to be gifted to Jeffrey Cookson. The property becomes increasingly steep towards the eastern boundary with a few scattered trees. Adjacent land use to the north is residential subdivision, to the east is government lands, and to the south and west are residential subdivision lands. Project uses. Wastewater. Tract 5B will be subject to review and approval from the Department of Environmental Quality under the Sanitation and Subdivisions Act, Title 76, Chapter 4, Part 1, MCA. The existing home site on Tract 5A has an approved on-site wastewater treatment system that was approved by the Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer. A Certificate of Subdivision Approval, COSA, approved by DEQ, was filed in the Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder's Office for this property on August 12, 2024. However, since the configuration of the parcels matched the previously denied Kimberly-Cookson family transfer, a rewrite has been submitted to DEQ for approval. Also on October 1, 2024, counsel for the applicants recorded a correction to the chain of title for the family transfer. The effect of that recorded correction is to serve as notice to all parties that EQ number 24-1674 was recorded in error and is not effective as to this property. Access. The property is currently Tract 5 of the Lazy HM Estates Major Subdivision, Phase 2, with access off of Moss Rock Road, a subdivision road. This property is at the end of a cul-de-sac, so a 30-foot wide access and utility easement across proposed Tract 5B is being created with this survey to provide a driveway access to Tract 5A. Water. There's an existing exempt well for the home site on proposed Tract 5A. The provision of water for any future development will be subject to review and approval by the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation, DNRC, utilizing the exempt well requirements for a residential structure. Public health and safety. The proposed division has the potential to have adverse impacts on public health and safety as follows. Number 1, no fire protection is located in the vicinity of the subject property. The nearest fire protection system is located in the town site of Winston. Number 2, due to the steepness of the slopes on this parcel, rockfall or landslides could pose a hazard. Conclusion. Pursuant to 763207 2B1C MCA, which states, a division within a platted subdivision is exempt from additional subdivision reviews and is subject to applicable zoning regulations adopted under Title 76, Chapter 2, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter if the Division C is gifted or sold to a member of the landowner's immediate family. According to the Broadwater County Subdivision Regulations 9C1B3, for the purposes of this exemption, gift or sale to a member of the immediate family member means a spouse, child by blood or adoption, and parent of the grantor. A quitclaim deed was filed on January 10, 2024 from Kimberly Cookson as the trustee of the Cookson Family Trust, UTA, to Kimberly Cookson for Tract 5 of Lazy HM Estates Phase 2. The Lazy HM Estates covenants allow for one division per original tract so long as the acreage of each parcel is not less than 10 acres in size, with only one parcel, that should say structure, excuse me, with only one structure per 10 acres. While this proposed newly created family transfer lot will be obligated to adhere to the Lazy HM Estates covenants, the Broadwater County Commissioners will not enforce the covenants. According to the applicant's affidavit, the reason for proposing this division of land is to allow the owner of Tract 5, Kimberly Cookson, the ability to gift a tract of land to her son, Jeffrey Cookson. Also, according to the applicant, there are no liens on the property and all taxes and special assessments are paid to date. And that concludes my staff report with the 2 corrections.
I guess I'll start out. I mean, I think all of us have had the opportunity to go out and view the property in person and look at it. One of my things, the challenges I see with this property is where it is built and where the potential building site could be in the steep areas. It does present somewhat of a concern, but we don't get a chance to weigh in on that. The thing that I do, normally when we would look at something, we would consider no-build zones for areas that would pose a hazard. But one of my questions is on our floodplain. I know there's lots of different drainages up there. Is there any way to, I don't know how this works as far as for if building is done in those areas to make sure that those drains and those floodplain areas remain intact so that they don't have an impact on someone below them. How does that work?
So, Mr. Chairman, I understand your question. I do want to clarify that none of this property is within the designated, within FEMA's designated 100-year floodplain. So there's no relying for the county or any potential future owners of the property, builders on the property, to rely on the use of those FEMA firm panel maps, which is what we use for designating the floodplain. So really it would have to be at the discretion of the builder. I do not know, I'm not saying there is not a way, but I do not know of a way for the commissioners to place a no-build zone on those drainages or on the areas of in excess of 15% slope, which would be our typical direction that we would go. So that would have to be at the landowner's agreement, if you will, because I do not believe there is anything in MCA or our subdivision regulations that would allow the commissioners the ability to place those no-build zones on the drainages.
I'm not asking for us,
okay.
I'm not asking for us to do that.
Okay.
I'm just making that note that is a potential concern that I see in the future. Because what happens is someone will build a piece of property, 20, 30 years down the road, it gets sold, and someone buys this property, and then here's this problem that was created. And we try to always, if we can, head off those potential problems early on rather than them becoming problems in the future. Hold on, Mr. Staley. So I'm just making that statement that is a concern of ours. Looking forward.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I think to piggyback on what you're saying, my concern, and again, not that we can't address it here. I mean, there's nothing we can require, but how the building sites, and I think part of that would be how that like drainage and whatnot affects anyone else below them, since they're a little higher up, right? That would normally be assessed, and I don't think that's necessarily getting assessed.
Right.
So
that's one of the challenges with these is we don't get a chance to really address some of the impacts that take place. So I'm just saying that, so hopefully the families in the future will take that into consideration when they do decide to, if they do decide to build there. Please take that into consideration. That's all I'm saying. Anything else? Let's see, there was... I guess let's go ahead and talk about the COSA that was submitted. And we have received a letter that it was submitted in error. I just want to talk about and make clarity of how that affects the chain of title for this request. Maybe, Kaylin, if you could speak a little bit about that for us, please.
Absolutely. Chairman Folkboard, Kaylin Miner, Deputy County Attorney, and I'll try to give you a brief factual update. As we know, the original COSA was looked at by DEQ as well as our county sanitarian on January 12, 2024. That, although was followed up by the denial of the original Cookson family transfer, and subsequent to all that, and there was a letter of denial, etc. On August the 12th or the 16th, I'm now forgetting because I'm publicly speaking, The COSA was erroneously recorded. And so if that were to remain intact, that would show that there were actually 3 lots on, I believe it was tract. I should have pulled it up. There were the 3 lots that were being divided. I've got it right here. 6, so tract 6. And you know what, we had a great conversation about it when that discovery of that erroneous recording occurred. The county was able to work very well with some brilliant attorneys who were in the room, as well as some great engineers. And they understood that that was a, what I will call a prohibited, it's a document that should not have been filed. And it says pursuant to, this is me reading statute, 76-4-122-2A, that those are the type of documents that we are prohibited from being filed, and those would be things like COSAs that don't have an attached survey. So anyhow, that discrepancy came to light, and we did have a very productive meeting. And after that fact, as Nicole astutely mentioned, documentation that a letter that the COSA was erroneously recorded was filed. I believe that letter has clarified, because it is very clear. The wording, the drafting is very clear that they don't want that and I've got the letter here. Let's read the letter. So it's very clear. That letter does state, though, that it's not to be, that it is in order to provide immediate and ongoing clarity to the chain of title for the property. The attorney, with the permission of the clients, requests that this letter be recorded into the records of Broadwater County. And in bold, which is the most important part probably, this letter shall serve as notice to all parties that document number 199412 was recorded in error and is not effective as to the property. So that has been a very effective, I believe, cleaning up of the chain of title, any questions or concerns. There is an outstanding request by the county to DEQ to revoke the author or the approved COSA. That is, we don't know where that's going to go, quite frankly, as a county. But again, like I said, it's a certain filing that was prohibited, so we did ask for that revocation under 76-4-122. And there is a policy and a procedure within DEQ to revoke a COSA that is not applicable. So I think that we're actually going to have double assurances as to the chain of title from this point going forward. Furthermore, Nicole mentioned that there was a rewrite. That rewrite has been approved, and that rewrite will be additionally filed if this is approved as a family transfer. Now, that rewrite will then go on top with that survey in one big packet, as we would normally have a recording happen in the clerk of recorders, and so that's going to make it even more clear. So that was a long answer. I didn't mean to give you guys a long answer,
No,
but I just want to just say thank you to everybody involved and for allowing us all to work through these potential confusions, and I think it is clear and ready to be decided on by you commissioners.
Okay.
May I add some additional?
Hold on just one moment, please. So will this letter accompany, I guess, will it be a part of the record? Maybe, Angie, this is a question for you. Will this letter be a part of the record so that anybody that looks at this in the future will know that this has been done?
Yes, Commissioner Volkford, Angie Paulson, Broward County Clerk and Recorder. This letter was recorded in my office on October 1st, 2024, and it is document number 199918. It is public record, and it can be accessed on idocmarket.com and through calling my office. But yes, this specific letter for the correction to the chain of title for the Cookson family links back to the incorrect, or the document that was recorded in error. And so if a professional title company is doing a chain of title search or a deed search, they would see that this particular letter is linked back to the incorrect document, and yes, a professional would be able to find this, so.
And I think
Yeah,
that's all of our
that's-
concern, is to ensure that that would be available in the future for somebody that would purchase this property, to make sure that there's no clouds on the title. Okay. Okay, state, spell your name for the record, please.
Breanne Johnson, B as in boy, R-E-E-A-N-N, Johnson, Johnsson, counsel of record for the Cookson family. And I just wanted to add to what all of this, just so that we know, and it's on the record, that it is crystal clear by the end of this, is also the rewritten COSA has a specific statement in it that says it supersedes the previously recorded COSA that was incorrect. And then also we have had further communication with DEQ regarding the revocation requests that the county made, and that all of them are out of the office this week. But they said that they would be back in touch with me next week in order to just make sure that it's as clean and as crisp as needed to be.
Okay.
But there should be no confusion in the record.
Very good, thank you so much.
Chairman Folkford, I'd like to thank Breanne for that update. I didn't know that last part.
Okay. Wonderful. All right, any other questions or comments on this request from the commission?
I don't have any. We have all spent a good deal of time reading and researching and looking at maps and driving.
And I think, just so everyone understands, our job here is to ensure that this process is done correctly. That's what our job is. All right, is there a motion?
Chairman Folkford, there was a public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, there was.
I just thought that if
I
we're
forgot
going to read
about
it,
that.
maybe we read it now.
But
Please.
I think that would come in during the public comment section.
Yeah, after the motion.
After the motion.
My apologies,
Yes.
Chairman Folkford.
Yeah. Yep.
I move to approve the Kimberly Cookson family transfer.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the Kimberly Cookson family transfer. Is there any public comment?
Chairman Fulford, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner. I received a letter of public comment. I was out of the office at a conference earlier this week, so I have not had an opportunity to forward this comment on to anyone. I want it to be made a part of the record today, if I may. This letter is dated October 7th, 2024. And this was an email I received from Bryce and Cheryl Larson. It is approximately 3 pages, so I will read this into the record. This is to the Broadwater County Commission regarding the Janita Cookson family transfer and the Kimberly Cookson family transfer. Honorable Broadwater County Commissioners, due to previous commitments, we will not be able to attend the October 9th, 2024 Broadwater County Commission meeting addressing the referenced agenda items. We are requesting that our letter be read into the record for both the Janita Cookson family transfer and the Kimberly Cookson family transfer agenda items. We would like to begin with the following thoughts, observations, questions, and concerns. Number 1, subdivision evasion. It looks like the developers have taken actions to evade the Subdivision and Platting Act as outlined below. A, quitclaim deeds transferring the properties within the proposed family transfers from trusts to individuals associated with the trust were executed and filed on January 10th, 2024. This is shortly before initial January 31, 24 and subsequent September 12th, 24 family transfer applications were executed. Tracts 5 and 6 could have been divided under the normal subdivision process without transferring title to individuals. However, transferring title to individuals qualifies the properties for division under the family transfer exemption unless transferred for the purpose of evading the Subdivision and Platting Act. Per many Montana governing bodies' evasion criteria, transferring ownership from entities to individuals by quitclaim deed, followed by the attempted use of the Family Transfer Act, is presumed to be done for the purpose of evading the Montana Subdivision and Platting Act. Have the landowners been asked directly why they transferred title? B. Broadwater County policy indicates the nature of a claimant's business is to be considered when evaluating evasion criteria. There are documents online indicating Jeff Cookson is or has been a contractor operating in Antelope, California as Jeff Scott Construction, and later as a land developer operating in Wilcott, California as, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Consumes River Land Development. This can be confirmed or denied by Jeffrey Cookson as he is listed as the contact for the business. Both these professions have been used to deny family transfers in other Montana counties. Although Jeff Cookson does not officially own Tract 5 or 6 at this time, he has had past interest in the property as a trustee and continues to have interest through close familial ties and as a potential grantee of one of the tracts. Leaving Jeff off the deed appears to be yet another creative and deceptive subdivision evasion maneuver, especially when considering his domineering involvement throughout this entire process. C. On the proposed Janita Cookson family transfer, Tract 6 is being divided into two tracts, 6A and 6B. Tract 6B is slated for transfer to son Carter Cookson using the family transfer exemption. Tract 6A is technically a remainder and is being created without citing an exemption or without subdivision review. Essentially, this is a backdoor way of creating an additional parcel that technically needs to be reviewed as a subdivision. Creating parcels by this method is considered a subdivision evasion practice by multiple Montana governing bodies. Several of these governing bodies have rules regulating tracts created as remainders, like Tract 6A. Some require the owner live on the remainder parcel or provide evidence guaranteeing the remainder will not be transferred. Tract 5 has a similar situation. Since the owner, developer of Tract 5 is living on the remainder parcel for that tract, it would most likely not be seen as an attempt to evade the subdivision process. How is Broadwater County evaluating remainder parcels like this for subdivision evasion? How has the proposed Janita Cookson family transfer remainder, Tract 6A, been evaluated for subdivision evasion as it pertains to not using an appropriate exemption or not going through the subdivision process? Number 2, compliance issues with rules and regulations. A. Broadwater County subdivision regulations allow for family transfers outside platted subdivisions. The proposed family transfers fall within a platted subdivision, thus do not meet published county regulations. B. As a condition of Lazy HM Estates subdivision approval, Broadwater County required covenants. These are existing restrictions, requirements on the land, and per statute continue to apply to the land. Does the governing body have a duty to ensure covenants are complied with prior to approving additional divisions of land, especially covenants pertaining to further dividing existing subdivision tracts? Are covenants considered a form of zoning? If there is a duty, the county needs to be aware existing tracts 5 and 6 do not fully comply with the covenants. The Cooksons as a whole seem to have a blatant disregard for these rules, deliberate disrespect for their neighbors, and have created multiple violations. An example is Lazy HM covenants allow for one single-family residential dwelling per tract of land. As it currently stands, Tract 5 has one multifamily dwelling, a second dwelling, and a large storage guest house barn. The Phase 1 Cookson Trust plans, as designed by Bryson Engineering of Sacramento, California, and submitted to Lazy HM Homeowners Association, were drawn to show one residence, Kimberly Cookson's residence, and a barn, which is actually the previously noted multifamily dwelling. The red storage guest house barn was not shown. Development was not done according to submitted plans. We are not sure what the ulterior motive was for submitting an incorrect set of plans other than to purposely deceive Lazy HM Homeowners Association officers and Architectural Committee. C. As a condition of Lazy HM Estates subdivision approval, Broadwater County required roads to be built to county and engineering standards and to be approved prior to subdivision acceptance. Standards are put in places for reasons of public safety, emergency vehicle access, etc. In conjunction with recent development on Tract 5 and 6, one or more of the Cooksons have altered or caused to be altered the cul-de-sac at the end of Moss Rock Road. For various reasons, including public safety, the Cooksons should be required to bring the cul-de-sac back to standards, inspected and approved by an engineer prior to approving any additional land divisions. This requirement most likely cannot be made if the family transfer exemption is allowed, but could potentially be made if the proposed land division goes through the full subdivision process. Is the county going to provide ambulance, police, and fire protection services to these lots? If so, road access grades need to be examined. Due to the steep topography of these tracks, access roads most likely exceed maximum road grade standards, making access difficult, if not impossible, for emergency vehicles. On multiple occasions, we have witnessed construction vehicles having to take multiple runs up the access road and backing down before finally making it to the top. D. Under certain circumstances, DEQ requires stormwater runoff permits to be obtained. To date, development on tracks 5 and 6 appears to have disturbed more than 1 acre of land and has significantly changed historic stormwater runoff patterns as well as exacerbating noxious weed problems. No runoff mitigation measures appear to have been put in place by the present landowners. If required, has the owner obtained proper permits? E. Have taxes on this property been fully paid? The Department of Revenue's online system does not show an assessment for all improvements on tracks 5 and 6 and incorrectly shows the finished frame barn structure as a pole barn. F. The Broadwater County Commission has reportedly sent out a response to the developers pertaining to reasons why the first Cookson family transfer application was denied. Dating back to May 17, 2024, we have repeatedly asked for a copy of this letter, but at the time of authoring this letter have not received it. We reserve the right to review and make comments on this letter prior to the board taking any action to approve the proposed family transfers. In summary, the family transfer exemption is an abbreviated process for dividing qualified parcels of land. This process does not allow for the same notification, public comment, due process, or protection of the public's health and welfare as the subdivision process does. We see a number of issues and impacts that need to be brought forth, addressed, and resolved prior to allowing further development or division of tracks 5 and 6 Lazy HM Estates Phase 2. From information we have received, the family transfer process is not conducive to mitigating issues. In addition, the proposed family transfers look like classic examples of subdivision evasion. As such, we would ask the Commission to reject both proposed family transfers and redirect the developers towards a more complete subdivision process where impacts and issues can be fully vetted. Thanks for the opportunity to comment. Sincerely, Bryce and Cheryl Larson.
Okay. Well, I guess this letter actually serves as a reminder of the concerns that we have. We don't get an opportunity to evaluate the impacts on the environment, the neighbors, and other things that we normally would during a subdivision process.
What, Mr. Chair, it was what last legislative session where they allowed this to happen in subdivisions.
They would not have.
It would not have happened before. And it is frustrating for us because it is law. We have to say, I mean, there can be considerations. But it is frustrating because it does impact your neighbors. It impacts all the people around you. It impacts the people who bought in that subdivision with the understanding that things would be a certain way. So it is hard. It's a frustrating decision to have to make.
I know when I was out there looking at the property, I had a chance to visit with the neighbors to the west of them. And of course they're disappointed because they built their home at the back of their property for a specific reason. And now they will wake up some morning and have more homes built behind them. So that's their, I guess that's their concern. And I sympathize with that. Nicole, I guess as I know our policy in Broadwater County for addressing, how will we be able to address this? I'm just asking.
Mr. Chairman, let me get to the certificate of survey. I could more appropriately address that. So Chairman Folkford, I believe there is already an address to the existing home on what is proposed as Tract 5A. So Tract 5B would have a, how would I say it, like a one-off address, if you will. So all houses, structures on the right side of the road are evenly numbered, on the left are odd numbered. So I can't tell you what this address is. I did look at it, but I can't tell you off the top of my head for Tract 5A, an even number. Tract 5B would be one number just below that. So let's just say it's 40 Moss Rock Road. I don't know that it is, but then Tract 5B would be 38 Moss Rock Road, which could then be slightly cumbersome trying to squeeze in more addresses for Tract 6A and 6B, because then likely they would be 36 and 34 because of the location. Because again, addresses are based on the distance traveled down the road. So from the point of beginning to that driveway branches off of the road. So if it were 40, it would be 0.4 miles traveled down Moss Rock Road on the right-hand side of the road. It's probably a lot more information on addressing than you wanted to know, but typically when there's a shared driveway, which we don't allow for in subdivisions, but if Tract 5B and 5A we're going to have a shared driveway, the address would be 2 off. I mean, I say 1 off based on even and odd addressing, but it would just have to be just 2 numbers off.
I look at our first responders. They're going to go up Moss Road, they're going to get to the cul-de-sac, and then that's going to be a question as to which direction they most likely will have to go if somebody does need help. I mean, that's the reason that we probably do things the way we do.
Mr. Chair, that is correct. And part of the addressing application process, I provide a structure address plaque. So it looks a bit like a mile marker. It's a reflective green sign with white reflective numbers that I encourage owners, again, no one's checking this, but I encourage homeowners to post that at their driveway entrance. So on your house numbers are fantastic, especially in a situation with shared driveways, but to have those numbers placed basically at the cul-de-sac, so where that driveway would come off of Moss Rock Road, it is always beneficial for homeowners to take it a step further and maybe have some type of directional sign, because of course if there's a fire, the fire department can follow the smoke, but if you're having a heart attack at 2 a.m., you don't want first responders wondering which structure yourself or your loved one is in need of assistance. So really the onus falls on those homeowners to do the best they can to ensure that not only are the driveways marked, the homes are marked, and there's some type of directional signage. But I don't provide the directional signage. That's simply a statement I make with these shared driveways.
Right.
Mr. Chair, I would encourage, having previously been on the EMS and ambulance crew and looked for addresses that we can't find and people having to run down at the end of the driveway and flag people down, I would recommend putting one of the markers out on your driveway or a sign that denotes it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason we talk about this is just not because we like to hear ourselves talk. We hope that these suggestions will be taken into account with these property owners, and they will follow the recommendations, I guess. Is there any other comments?
I'll just make a real quick one just to piggyback from the comments already made. From talking to other commissioners throughout the state, there will be at least, well, the top 2 topics of conversation in Helena starting in January are obviously going to be property taxes and land use. And I really hope some intelligent people up there really take a look at the family transfer situation that we are in now, and study it and maybe come up with some conclusions that are better than what we have now. So that's just a editorial comment.
Thank you, Commissioner. It really is a real-world concern for us and other commissioners across the state of Montana. All right, any other public comment? Any other public comment? Any other public comment? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Nay. Motion passes. Next on our agenda, Janita Cookson family transfer. Go ahead, Nicole.
All right, Commissioners, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner, here today to present the Janita Cookson Family Transfer Request. Commissioners, you should have in front of you a staff report, an affidavit prepared by the owner of the property, and a certificate of survey. And with that, I would like to read the staff report into the record.
Please do.
So this is the staff report for the Janita Cookson Family Transfer. This is to the Broadwater County Commissioners from myself, Nicole Brown. The date of the staff report was September 24th, 2024. The deadline for governing body action is October 10th, 2024. The applicant is Janita Cookson of East Helena, Montana. Executive summary. The subject property is 47.96 acres in size with access from Moss Rock Road, which is not a county road. The parcel is currently owned by Janita Cookson, whom is requesting to utilize the family transfer exemption to gift a 35.67 acre parcel identified as Tract 6B to her son, Carter Cookson. Family transfer statutes. Montana Code Annotated 76.3.2072B provides that a division within a platted subdivision is exempt from additional subdivision reviews and is subject to applicable zoning regulations adopted under Title 76, Chapter 2, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter. Since the proposed Tract 6A will become less than 20 acres in size, it will be subject to DEQ review and approval. The proposed Tract 6B will be greater than 20 acres in size, so it will be subject to Broadwater County Environmental Health Office review and approval. Request. The owner of the parcel is requesting approval of the use of the family transfer exemption. Location. The property is located off of Moss Rock Road in portions of Section 9 and Section 10, Township 9 North, Range 1 West of Broadwater County, Montana. Existing development and uses. This property is currently a vacant subdivision parcel known as Tract 6 of the Lazy HM Estates Phase 2. The property becomes increasingly steep towards the eastern boundary with a few scattered trees. Adjacent land use to the north is residential subdivision. To the east is government lands. And to the south and to the west are residential subdivision lands. Project uses. Wastewater. Tract 6A will be subject to review and/or approval from the Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, under the Sanitation and Subdivisions Act, Title 76, Chapter 4, Part 1, MCA. Tract 6B will be subject to review and approval by the Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer. A Certificate of Subdivision Approval, COSA, approved by DEQ, was filed in the Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder's Office for this property on August 12, 2024. However, since the configuration of the parcels matched the previously denied Janita Cookson family transfer, a rewrite has been submitted to DEQ for approval. Access. The property is currently Tract 6 of the Lazy HM Estates Major Subdivision Phase 2 with access off of Moss Rock Road, a subdivision road. A 30-foot wide access and utility easement across proposed Tract 6A is being created with this survey to provide a driveway access to Tract 6B. Water. The provision of water for any future development will be subject to review and approval by the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation, DNRC, utilizing the exempt well requirements for a residential structure. Public health and safety. The proposed division has the potential to have adverse impacts on public health and safety as follows. Number 1, no fire protection is located in the vicinity of the subject property. The nearest fire protection system is located in the townsite of Winston. Number 2, due to the steepness of the slopes on this parcel, rockfall or landslides could pose a hazard. In conclusion, pursuant to 76.3.2072B1C MCA, which states, a division within a platted subdivision is exempt from additional subdivision reviews and is subject to applicable zoning regulations adopted under Title 76, Chapter 2, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter. If the division, C, is gifted or sold to a member of the landowner's immediate family. According to the Broadwater County Subdivision Regulations 9C1B3, for the purposes of this exemption, gift or sale to a member of the immediate family member means a spouse, child by blood or adoption, and parent of the grantor. A quitclaim deed was filed on January 10, 2024 from Jeffrey S. Cookson and Janita J. Cookson as the trustees of the Cookson Family Trust to Janita J. Cookson for Tract 6 of the Lazy HM Estates Phase 2. The Lazy HM Estates covenants allow for one division per original parcel so long as the acreage of each parcel is not less than 10 acres in size, with only one residence per 10 acres. While this proposed newly created family transfer lot will be obligated to adhere to the Lazy HM Estates covenants, the Broadwater County Commissioners will not enforce the covenants. According to the applicant's affidavit, the reason for proposing this division of land is to allow the owner of Tract 6, Janita Cookson, the ability to gift a tract of land to her son. Also, according to the applicant, there are no liens on the property, and all taxes and special assessments are paid to date. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Questions or comments for Nicole?
I don't think I have any.
I guess we've already covered that ground. No use beating a dead horse. The one thing that I do want to add, it comes out with this particular one, is now the county is at odds with the covenants from Lazy HM Estates because of his request. So I guess we'll see where that goes. Any other questions or comments? This letter that was submitted for the COS filed in error applies to this request as well.
Chairman Fulford, yes. Kaylin Minor, Deputy County Attorney. The letter does apply to the COS that was erroneously recorded because it did encompass both of the tracts 5 and tract 6, and the surveys, or a map, I should say, of each tract was included.
Okay.
And Chairman Fulford, if I may add, there, pursuant to 763604 subsection 10, the county does not enforce covenants, and that is a change. But I don't know if this actually puts us at odds as a county in a legal sense, because we are no longer that enforcement authority.
Right.
It would be more of a civil issue between
Correct.
homeowners.
That's correct. Okay. Is there a motion?
I will move to approve the family transfer for Janita Cookson, the Janita Cookson family transfer.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to approve the Janita Cookson family transfer request. Is there any public comment?
Chairman Folkford, I would just like to add the previous letter that I read from Bryce and Cheryl Larson applies to this request as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay?
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, thank you. I guess,
Thank you very much, Nicole.
thank you, everyone, for attending. That is all that's on our regular agenda. We will take care of some claims. Thank you. Thank you. Claim in the amount of $307. Ooh, I like that one.
I move to approve the claims of $307.
You were fast at that one. I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the claim in the amount of $307. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kay. I'll be right behind you.
With all due respect, Chairman Folkford, you know I'm going to another meeting. Do you need me any further
I do
for this?
not.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you, sir.
Okay, claims in the amount of $79,676.96.
Move to approve claims for $79,676.96.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $79,676.96. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Claim in the amount of $11,989.86.
It was 989?
$989.86.
Okay.
I move to approve the claims in the amount of $11,989.86.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve claim in the amount of $11,989.86. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have payroll in the amount of $292,439.25.
I move to approve payroll claims for $292,439.25.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve payroll in the amount of $292,439.25. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. With that, one quick correspondence to read from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and it's addressed to the Montana Department of Natural Resources Conservation in regard to the Tossin Dam, and it's just letters to acknowledge your July 31st, 2024 letter transmitting the right abutment seismic rehab drilling project plan, and says you are authorized to begin the proposed drilling activities once the necessary permits for this work has been obtained. So apparently we'll be doing some work out there. If you have an interest in this, this will be in the Commissioner's office for you to view. Okay, with that, is there anything else to come before the Commission?
I don't have anything.
Okay. With that, we're adjourned. 11, what is that, 39?